All right, if I could have everybody's attention, we'll call the board meeting to order. I had to think what month it is. This is March. Yeah, already. First item will be, I ask everybody to stand, and Audra's going to lead us in the pledge tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey. You might get good again next month. All right, so celebrations.
Yes, sir. We're going to start with our Panther Prowl video for the month.
Welcome to the Panther Prowl, your Silent Springs School District report. Good evening, school board members, Silent Springs School administrators, staff, and community. Welcome to the Panther Prowl, where you hear all the latest, most exciting news in the Silent Springs School District. Tonight, we'll be taking you to a school where support staff go an extra mile for students. And lastly, we'll be talking to a few of our maintenance help. First up, we have Landon, Yuno, and Destiny that went to our intermediate school to meet with Mr. Chase, one of our custodians.
Leonard Hernandez, and I'm here with the Panther Prowl. Today we talked to custodian Chase LaFleur about his experience with his job. One of his main parts of the job is interacting with the students.
Interacting with you guys, with kids of, from the high school down to now 5th and 6th grade. I mean, it's cool seeing them grow up and the years go by and stuff, and a lot of them are really nice.
Throughout the years, Chase has noticed that the kids are much more mature than they used to be.
Compared to when I was in school, especially at this age, kids are way more mature than when I was, I mean, we were playing with toys and stuff, and now y'all have Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and I see kids doing dances and, being sus and all that stuff. So it's way different.
Chase interacts with students that has not been only benefiting students' lives, but also help them in unexpected ways.
It's actually helped me get better at speaking to my own children, so hearing the interactions and stuff like that has helped me develop my own repertoire with my own kids and family. So it's really nice.
We are all thankful not only for Chase and his work, but also for our district custodians. They do so much work for us, and we are grateful to have such wonderful people in our schools. Back to you, Jocelyn.
Thank you, Landon. How amazing is it to have staff that go an extra mile to make our students happy? Last but not least, we have Jared, Landon, and Kyle talking to a few of our amazing maintenance staff.
When something breaks at the school, you probably don't notice, do you? That's because of our skilled maintenance crew put together by Mr. Bollinger.
Maintenance umbrella has all of the maintenance and custodial. I also do the energy management. Kyle and Ron, they both, Kyle's HVAC mechanical technician, Ron's electrician.
The Silent Springs School District hires skilled and certified individuals to maintain and run the school district's HVAC and electrical systems. By doing this, the school district saves a lot of money and time by not having to hire third-party companies to fix and maintain these systems.
Master electrician certified in the state of California and Arkansas. You have light fixtures not working. To one of the first things I did here was they had a short in conductors out underground, pulled underground between light poles, and they weren't able to locate it. So one of the first things I did was located the shorts. Getting power back on, whether it be city's got power off, or determining what the issue is, and keeping the lights on and keeping the heat going and this and that.
We thank all of you on the maintenance crew for keeping our school district running. I'm Jared Brewer with the Panther Prowl. Back to you, Jocelyn.
Thank you, Jared, and a big thanks to our maintenance help. Now, thank you for tuning in to the Panther Prowl. Tune in next month to hear more exciting news happening in our Silent Springs School District. And shout out to our school board members. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Confusing. You gotta think backwards.
She didn't see me on Tuesday.
Okay, our next celebration, Jackie Clement, our cheer coach, our lead cheer coach, is here to introduce our cheerleading squad and talk about their accomplishments. And I will say, while she's on her way up, Jackie and the team and the other coaches were at the Capitol on Tuesday to be recognized by the governor. And Senator Dees and Representative Hawk were nice enough to present resolutions in their respective chambers and celebrate our team down there. So
Exciting.
I didn't steal your thunder there.
You
did I?
did not.
Okay.
It's in there, but you did not steal my thunder. So this is part of our team. So not everyone could be here tonight because there are soccer games and other events that are school related. But as you can see, they have lots of hardware with them for this year. So this is our 2022 state championship cheerleading team and 2023 national championship cheerleading team. And I'm going to just introduce really quickly the seniors: Maggie Lee, Jalen Roberts, Faith Ellis, soccer, Kaylee Johnson, Daxton Moody, Dalian Miller. Juniors: Cooper Church, Olivia Moody, she's at choir, Isabella Anglin Rivera, she's at soccer, George Leroy. Sophomores: Britton Glenn, Maddie Harrell, Hallie Williamson, Gio Flores, Rusty Pickup, and freshman Emma Fiddler. So that is our team, and I'm the head coach. We have assistant coach Maddie Boyd. Our choreographer is Alicia Williamson, and she's also here tonight. And sideline cheer coach, which helps with this, is Kara Horton, and our stunt and tumbling coach are Dalton Ferguson and Montana Harrell. And both of them were actually cheerleaders for me during my coaching career, and they've actually come back to help coach. So I think that's really cool. I just wanted to thank you for celebrating with us our fantastic season this year. When I started coaching here in Siloam Springs, I started in 2014, and I wanted to build a program that every cheerleader could be proud of when they left our program. And we have a lot to be proud of this year. And each time I have a new team, I always remind them to remember the teams that have come before them who have worked just as hard as they have and not achieved this goal, because all of that building blocks just added to this, and they all helped us achieve what we achieved this year. And so that's really important. And I received so many texts and messages and emails and calls from former teammates and former members of our team that were just so excited for them because they wanted the same thing and they feel like they've earned part of this. And so I'm just really proud of that fact. In 2014, my first year, we did not compete. We were not there. We did not have the quality of cheerleaders, and it just wasn't the right year to take them to compete. In 2015, we did a competition. We did go to state, and we learned a lot that year. By the third year, 2016, we had another great showing, and by that year, most of the kids had kind of bought into the idea that we could actually win. We could actually be a state championship. We could be a state runner-up. And so I was getting some traction in that year. In 2017, we got third place, and we were thrilled with third place because we had never placed that high before. And then in 2018 was our first state runner-up, first time ever for Siloam Cheer. 2019, third at state. 2020, we got a state runner-up championship again. 2021 was third place at state, and then 2022 we were state champions for the first time ever, and we compete in the 5A 6A co-ed division, which we are the smallest team in the division, and we were able to bring home a state championship, and that was a very just a really cool moment for the team. And you've probably seen lots of Facebook posts from parents and different things on our videos. And after that, we had got a bid to go to the national championship in Dallas, Texas, and after we won state, there were, they practice a lot. And so I talked to the team and I said, do you want to go to nationals? And they said yes. And I said, before I went to the school and to Coach Williamson, I wanted to make sure that we had talked to the team and they were all on board. And then talked to Coach Williams. He made some phone calls. We kind of worked some things out and we were able to attend nationals. And so that was a very big deal for us. They did an amazing job, and they won nationals. And Hawaii got second place, California got third place. So those are the teams that we competed against. So, with other teams, but those are the teams that were in the finals. And so the team from Arkansas pulled it off, and we were super proud of them. And they did a great job. We were in the advanced co-ed small varsity division. And so that was awesome. Our season starts for us in April and May. In fact, next week we have tryouts. And so we just finished because basketball season just ended last week with the games. And so this is kind of an off week for us, although we went to the Capitol and are here tonight. And then next week we have tryouts and we'll start the whole process over again. So we practice much of the summer. We start in April and May. And the fall, it really gets crazy for us. And we practice Monday night, 7 to 9:30, Tuesday, 7 to 9:30, on Thursday morning, 6:30 to 7:45 at least. We kind of throw in some other practices whenever we can get them. And our schedule is very different because we have several multi-sport athletes. Of the 16 athletes you have over there, 6 of them are football players, 3 of them are volleyball players, 2 of them are basketball players. We have 3 soccer players and 2 track athletes. We have several in the choir program, and several other athletes compete with elite all-star cheerleading team. So they're busy. I mean, and they make this happen. So they were athletes and they make this happen, and we're just really, really proud of them. We competed in 5 competitions this year, and out of the 5 competitions, we got first and second place in each one of those competitions. At Springdale, we placed first, and we got the High Point Award. So in our division, we placed first, but then they give the High Point Award for all the divisions together, and we received the High Point Award for all the divisions combined. Alma, we received second place, Fayetteville first place, and the overall High Point Award. Gentry first place, Tumbling Award, High Point Award, and Bentonville second place. And then the last competition was to state in December, and we won for the first time ever. And we continued to win at nationals and became national champions. So the team has put in maximum effort all year long. That's what their theme has kind of been, maximum effort. And every time we're at practice, we got to put in max effort, and we talk about that all the time. We have some cheerleaders who received special awards this year. So we have Maggie Lee, and she got All-State Cheerleader of the Year, and she's on our All-State team, and she also received All-Star Cheer for the state of Arkansas. Dalian Miller, he is holding the big NCAA 75-year sign, and he's made it to the final rounds of the University of Arkansas cheerleading program tryouts. They haven't had their actual tryouts yet, but he's gone through 3 rounds, so he's made it through the 3rd round, and so we're really excited about that. He's also been hired by National Cheerleading Association to work their summer camp staff this year. And then Kaylee Johnson has already signed with the University of Arkansas Fort Smith for cheerleading, and they are a fantastic college team that competes and do really, really well at nationals and college, and she's going to do well with that. And she will be our 14th athlete to sign out of our program. And out of those 14, we have 8 that are at D1 schools and 6 have signed with D2 schools. We have the best parents ever. They're amazing. They support us in everything we do. They do snacks. They do goodie bags. And when we threw them at this in December, it's Christmas. Now we're going to go to nationals. We need you to reroute your lives for another month. I mean, they jumped on board and just helped with everything, took everything. I mean, I hadn't done this before, so there was a lot of what ifs for me. And so they were very patient with me, and we all rallied around together. Obviously, we worked well together as a team because without their support, these kids wouldn't get there. And then they pulled off the win, so that was exciting. And I also want to thank the Siloam Springs administration. My administration has been very supportive of me, of attending all the cheerleading events, and the school board, and Jeff Williams, our athletic director, he's very supportive of the cheer program. The school district, like I said, helped us make that way to get to nationals. And Mr. Wiggins was one of the first people that texted me after we won state and was like, way to go. So that was really exciting. And he also attended our most recent celebration at the Arkansas State Capitol, where we were recognized on the Senate floor, which is a big deal because we got to actually be on the floor and recognized by the House of Representatives. We also met and took a picture with Governor Huckabee Sanders, and Senator Dees and Delia Hawk were instrumental in making sure the special day was recognized on their accomplishments. And so we just want to thank you for all your support and letting us come and be recognized one more time to finish this fantastic season. So thank you.
Congratulations.
And if I would have known, I would have sent you a video of our routine because it's pretty amazing. Because that would have been really cool. But
Yes.
they do a lot of neat stuff that we can't actually do in here because it's a very athletic team. And but I didn't even think about it. I would have sent a video in.
That
So
would have been cool.
next time maybe we'll do that.
Would you like to take a team picture up
Sure.
here
You
at
guys
the front?
come on up and we'll take a team picture.
Let Spencer get one for the paper.
Do we need to move?
They'll be in front of us.
So funny thing about the trophy, all their parents were at nationals, and I took the bus home. They dropped us off and we competed at bus went home, and all their cars were full, and somebody was like, how are you gonna get that trophy home? And so I called my parents, because they had come down.
Let's all move.
But I didn't realize how tall it was. I forgot.
You guys can get back there.
No. Okay, look at these now.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we look forward to following them next year. Who's out? Is that all the celebration?
That is all the celebrations. We actually have more, but we postponed them until next month because we're spreading them out.
There you go. Lot to celebrate.
That's
That was
absolutely-
awesome. That's really neat. Mr. Patrick, comments from patrons? No. Okey-doke. So, Bambi, let the minutes show that we have an established quorum. And the first item will be to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 9th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that takes us to reports. Mr. Wiggins?
I have a few things to talk about. First of all, I want to mention that the Senate Bill 294, the LEARNS Act, is now the LEARNS Act. It was passed by both House and Senate, and Governor signed it this week. And so now we get to find out exactly what all that means for us. Got some preliminary numbers on the amount of money that we may receive to reach the mandated minimums in the law. And as far as Terry and I can figure, as of today, we're going to be about $250,000 short to get to that $1 million with the money that they're providing us. So that's a challenge for us. And we knew we were going to be a little short because they told us they were not going to fund the raises for any of our federal employees in between Title I, Title II, Title III, and special ed funded employees. That's about 10% of our employees. There are also some administrators and some extended contracts that they will not fund. So we knew we were going to be a little short, so it's a challenge to figure out how we're going to do that. But we will. We will get there. And we will also be working on trying to restructure salary schedules because with that big raise to the base, we're going to have to restructure everything a little bit to be able to afford having the salary schedules that we're used to. So we have our work cut out for us, and we are still waiting for some guidance from the state and some rules to be written. So we are hoping to be a part of that process. Second thing, design build proposals for baseball, softball, tennis. We had asked for written proposals by last Wednesday afternoon at the end of day, end of business, and then we had presentations in person last Thursday. And we had 3 shortlisted firms that were to present to us last Thursday. One of the firms backed out on Tuesday night as I was walking the neighborhood. I got a call, so that was pretty late. But we did have 2 firms come and do the in-person presentations, and I thought both firms did an excellent job. And the selection panel has a recommendation for you that we will have as an action item later in the agenda. But just wanted to tell you, I want to thank, first of all, our selection panel, and I'm going to go from memory here, so I hope I don't forget anybody. But Grant and Chris were both on the selection panel. Shane, Randall, myself, Michael. Did I get everybody? Jeff was on it, but he was actually at the state basketball tournament Thursday, and so he didn't get to sit in on the presentations. So anyway, I want to thank the panel. They took a lot of time to review proposals and to sit in the interview process, and some of them actually got to go and look at a couple of fields from one of the companies to see the quality of the product, and so I appreciate their time and their effort on that. And I will present a recommendation later in the meeting. Last thing I want to talk about, we had a a couple of parents, a few parents, talked to the board about after-school athletics. Just to give you some background on after-school athletics and in-school athletics, we have four sports that have athletics during the day, and that is football, boys basketball, girls basketball, and volleyball. So that's balanced, 2 male sports, 2 female sports that we include at the high school during the school day. All of our other sports are after school, and there's quite a few of them. I have a list of at least 10 head coaches whose sports are after school, and at least 14 teams. I actually think there's more than that, so I think I've forgotten something. But there's at least 14 teams that have their practices after school. 15, actually, I know, because I left cheer off of here. But 15 teams that have practices after school. Originally, when the high school, I'm going to give a little history of how we got to this point. Originally, when the high school went to a block schedule, we didn't have nearly as many sports as we have currently. Back in the day, I don't know exactly what year and how many sports we had, but in the past, we haven't had all of the sports that we offer currently. We've expanded our offerings. And so when we went to block schedule, that was before I came here, so that was more than 22 years ago. It was when Mr. Ramey was principal at the high school. One of the agreements from the high school faculty as they studied block schedules was that if they went to a block schedule, they were going to move all athletics outside of the school day. And they did that for approximately 2 years. And at that point, there were several factors, but our major sports were suffering greatly, numbers and otherwise, and we had a lot of pressure on our coaches and our administrators to make changes. And so at that time, after 2 years of being out, football, basketball, volleyball came back in, and that's 2 and 2, boys and girls, and then the rest were left outside. And the purpose for leaving them outside of the school day was to give our students opportunities to do more things. And so I had some information I was going to provide you, but to be honest, the cheerleading presentation provided me a whole lot of information because Jackie went through and told you what all of her kids are involved in, what other sports they're involved in. So when you bring other sports back into the day, what you end up doing is pitting sport against sport in the same practice time. And so there's a whole lot of her cheerleaders who would have to choose possibly between cheer and whatever else they're participating in, whether that's soccer, basketball, baseball, whatever. There's a variety of things. And it doesn't just go for sports. I had Luke run me some numbers on just 4 of our sports, actually 3 of our sports that are after school: girls basketball, baseball, and cross country. And these are 3 of our most populated sports in the afternoons, after school. There's 95 kids that participate in those 3 sports. Of those 95 kids, those 95 kids take 95, no, there's more than 95 kids, I'm sorry. I don't know how many, 95 is how many AP courses there are. Of those 3 teams, the kids on those teams take 95 AP or honors courses. They take 222 CTE courses. That's career and technical courses. They take 14 of them take band, 14 of them take choir, 26 of them take concurrent credit classes with a university or a college, and then 29 of them are in another sport that's inside the day, so either football, basketball, or volleyball. So bringing those sports, just those 3 in, if it's a double blocked course in the afternoon and we give them 4th hour and 8th hour as athletics for baseball or cross country or tennis, and I can go on and on, bowling, that takes 2/8 of their regular schedule away from them. And so that's a fourth of their day, if they go to athletics every day. A fourth of their day is dedicated to athletics at that point, and it takes them out of those other things, or potentially something they have to make a choice on. So all of those kids in cheerleading, all of those kids in cross country, all of those kids in soccer currently have a class last period on A day and B day. If we bring athletics back in and they're in athletics every day, we're taking away a fourth of their classes that they have an opportunity for in the high school. All right. Most of them would be able to graduate with that still, because they're going to have 6 of those 8 classes. But what it's going to hurt, it's going to hurt their opportunities to be involved in some of those other things. Specifically, we pride ourselves on being a career and technical high school. We provide a ton of opportunities for kids in career and technical. 222 classes from those 3 teams are taken in career and technical right now. So if we pull them back into the day, those kids are going to have to start making choices. And those are the things, those career and technical classes are the ones that are not required to graduate. So those are electives and can be hurt. On the other side, I've got 10 coaches, head coaches. I'm not talking about assistants yet, but I've got 10 head coaches, 8 of whom either have a class or a prep period last hour of the day. So if they were in an athletic period instead of that class or that prep period, then I've got to do something with that class they were teaching and that prep. I've got to give them a prep some other time. So I'm eliminating classes that they can teach, and most of them are core teachers. So at some point, the balance becomes, okay, so we may have to hire additional teachers to cover those core classes that my teachers are not able to teach yet or now. And we're going to have fewer kids to take some of those elective courses, and eventually it's going to affect our numbers in career and tech or AP, or the number of kids who are able to do multiple sports or multiple things. And I think in the end, it makes our kids choose. And historically, we have tried not to put our kids into a situation where they have to make choices. All right. So that's kind of the background. Now, am I saying this is the right thing to do? And should we be doing this from now on? I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is. There are other schools that do exactly what we do. There are schools that are bigger and smaller and the same size that put them all during the day. But those schools do not have near the CTE courses that we have or the participation we have. And at bigger schools that are able to do this, their kids in sports are more apt to be specialized. They are a baseball player. They are a cheerleader. They are a football player, they are a volleyball player, or they are a soccer player. There's not a whole lot of sharing. Our sports to be successful have to be shared. We have to share our athletes. That historically, we have had to have kids who were good in multiple sports to be good across multiple sports as teams. So I'm presenting all this to you. I don't know that I'm trying to justify what we do. I guess I am. I'm telling you why we have done what we've done. I met with the 10 head coaches that I mentioned earlier. That's cross country, track, boys and girls track, boys and girls soccer, baseball, softball, golf, swim, dive, tennis, bowling. I met with all of them a couple of weeks ago to have a conversation about this. And a lot of them are new to us. A lot of them have come to us in the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of those head coaches have. And so they don't know our background. They don't know why we're where we are. So I tried to go through all of this with them. And at the end of that conversation, the question was asked, could they as a group try to work on some solutions and some ways of bringing some sports or all sports back into the block without having an adverse effect overall. I told them I was open to that. I'm glad to have them work on something like that, and we will work with them on that as well. But I think it's not going to be something that happens quickly. It's going to be over a period of years because it's going to take personnel changes too. And so I mentioned 10 head coaches. There's multiple assistant coaches as well involved. And so if we start looking at assistant coaches who already have a class at the last period, and I mentioned last period because that's when we travel. And so if we're going to add sports, the logical place to put them is last period so that they're not missing academic classes when they travel. And so some of our teams don't travel that often. They have a lot fewer events, but baseball, softball, and soccer are going to have 20 to 30 events during the spring. And so it's a travel issue for them, and we're pulling them out of class, and that's not good right now. But if we do move them back to the day, we would be looking at last hour, and it's packing everything into last hour. And so that's where kids start having to choose. So I'm just giving you all some background, and anybody else who's listening, a little background on why we are where we are. But I've also asked our coaches, we're going to start looking at a way to maybe adjust that over a period of a couple of years to where we can start bringing at least some of them, if not all of them, into the school day and try to balance that out a little bit. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Okay. It has been a concern. We've had some questions about it the last couple of years, so I just wanted to address it in a public forum here. That's all.
Thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome.
That was very good.
So that's all I have, sir.
All right,
That concludes my report.
thank you. Amy Carter?
Well, let's get her started. You want the light on or off?
Off.
Okay.
Okay, so March, we have Youth Art Month, and we have student displays currently in our Siloam Springs Public Library. This year, it is only through this week. So if you've not made it down there, if you have any time tomorrow to stop by the library and visit and see some of the magnificent art from our kiddos of all ages, first grade through high school. And Bambi is showing, she took plenty of pictures Monday night when they had an evening event. And so several of us went to see them, and it is a great show. It really displays our students and their visual art. I love that one that she just showed. But hopefully you can make it down there. I know there's only a day left, but maybe at lunch you can sneak down there or something. Okay. That's okay. You just keep looking. She took a lot of pictures.
And as many pictures as she took, I don't think she had either of the pieces that I really liked. There was two that I thought were exceptional. So I did text you all. It was kind of late on Monday, and I apologize for that. I should have given you a heads up. But it's a fantastic display, and I appreciate we have a fantastic art program, and all of our art teachers were there Monday night, and it was a very nice event. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Okay, for the second piece, you might remember, I don't know, a month or so ago, I discussed that we would be hosting science curriculum meetings. And so we're kind of in the middle of that at this point. Our teachers and members of the committee have been analyzing and reviewing various science curriculum, and we have a couple of more still to go. So we have an upcoming meeting this next Wednesday, and we will have a presentation from a different company, and then the teachers will take this new one back and try it in classrooms. They talk to their PLC members and get other members to try it as well. And then they have surveys that we're asking them to fill out about the quality of it. What's it like for a student? What's it like for a teacher? And so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can come to you in May with our recommendation of what is our selection. So that's just a quick update on science curriculum. And then our third piece is our ELPA, which is our English Language Proficiency Assessment. So this year we will have 901 students taking our ELPA assessment across the district. That's K through high school. And so over the last couple of years, Dr. Carter and I have worked, and then she's worked with her team in their monthly meetings, and then she visits weekly to different school sites. And so we've put some things in place, and in 2021, we implemented EL Achieve curriculum for our English language learners. And from not just that, it's been from the focused work, but that curriculum has given them a common piece of material that they can use across grade levels. And so what this is displaying is when Dr. Carter came and we started looking at data. In 2020, we had 18 students at the end of this assessment that scored at the proficient mark and were able to exit the program. So that is what this first bar represents, 18 students. So in 2021, we then moved up to 84 students within that 1 year of students exiting the program. And then last year in 2022, we have 120 students now exiting the program. And so that's just a 3-year trend that Leanne and I wanted to look up and see, are we making the progress? So yes, we still have a ways to go, but we also know that we're making those gains a little at a time. And so the ESOL team, the ELL team, whichever one you want to call them, they are working, they're focused, and they're just trying their hardest to get our kids proficient in language. So, any questions?
Tell us what it takes to get exited out of the program.
Well, I'm gonna have to borrow Leanne a little
Leanne?
bit. So,
Students need a proficient score on the Alpha 21 and also 2 additional pieces of proficient data.
Which could be like,
Any objective piece of data, so any non-reference test, so it takes a total of 3 proficient pieces of data points to be exited in monitor year 1.
okay.
And then as a district, we do monitor students for 4 years after the student takes the program.
So seeing this, you know, I think back when we go over all the test scores and where we rank within the state and other schools, and then y'all work all summer long and come up with goals and stuff. Can we get copies of those goals to kind of help compare to what we're shooting for and then what we're actually achieving?
yes, so I wasn't here in July when you would have had that, but you get the SLIP plan, the school level improvement plan, and in that plan is our goals of what we're focused on for data improvement, achievement of our kiddos. And so we'll make sure to make that a little more prominent this year when we bring those to you. So those are due to the district on May 1st, and then we wait and collect some data and then bring them to you all in July is usually the time historically that we bring that. So yes, you'll get them.
Thank you.
Anything else?
So as you were speaking,
Yes.
Brian made the comment, 901, I believe is what you said?
Yes.
It's 901 students in our schools who are not native English speakers.
Yes.
And so most of them don't have parents at home that are native English speakers. And so most of them hear another language at home. So that's important to remember also. That's about a fifth, 20% of our student population who are identified as English language learners. And so the fact that we can be exiting over 100 of them in a year is a good step in the right direction. And you know, I've said for a long time, if we have English language learners that come to us as kindergartners, we have a pretty good chance with them because it's a whole lot easier to teach them right along beside their peers with the same content. But if they come to us later, and we have students come to us in high school even as 17-year-old students, 18-year-old students that don't speak English. And so it's much more difficult. And so that represents all spectrums of children coming to us that don't speak English. So 900 students, we are, by percentage, we are one of the largest percentages in the state. Now, we are not as big as Rogers and Springdale, but we are in the top 10 definitely, and maybe close to
Top 5.
we're close to top 5, you know? Do what? Top 8? Okay. So that's important to remember as well.
Mr. Wiggins, I'll also point out, if you'll think about what years those were, to see that kind of growth during COVID.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And And you were talking about exiting at the various grade levels, and so we pulled that data too. And so in 2020, which we only had 18 students then, but there were 0 students in K3 that exited the program. In 2022, there were 44 students in K3 that exited the program. And so that is something that Leanne and I focused on starting last year, was looking at what's considered a long-term L. And so students that are in the program multiple years that aren't exiting. And so then we have to look at, why are they not exiting? Is it reading skills, writing skills, vocabulary? What component of that is weak, so that we can address that and help build that part of their achievement up? And so now we're getting a little more balanced across our grade span of seeing exits and not just middle grades or higher grades.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patrick. The bar's set pretty high tonight on these reports.
This is gonna be pretty short and sweet. I'm like Brian and Mike.
Great
come up.
report.
So, I'll let them talk about it, but I do wanna let you know, if you've been by this, administration building site lately, and I know Grant goes every day, it might not look like there's a lot of work taking place, but there is a ton of work taking place in different areas that nobody can see. And then we've had lots of meetings here lately trying to make sure that we have things rolling in the right direction and all. And I think tomorrow there might be a little movement that everybody can see. So I'll let Brian take over.
It's the one piece of thunder I have.
Well, you're gonna wanna hear it.
There's no work today.
What's that?
You weren't out
It was a tough day. We did unload 3 truckloads of steel today in the rain, but which was a few days behind, but they are going to start erecting steel tomorrow, which is we had hoped to have a slide of some steel going up tonight, but we will have it next week, and it'll be a good one because it's only going to take them about 3 weeks to put the structure up. So in the next milestone, we'll be looking for pouring the concrete slab in April, the 2nd floor, and then 3 months of doing interior framing, roofing, siding, putting an elevator in September, and October, just bringing it home with the finish house. So we're on schedule. We've had a few small setbacks, which we are anticipated. Always in a construction project, there's always something. You never know where it's going to come from. Weather has been a delay, but we had a very good weather buffer built into it, so we pretty much stayed on track with that. So it's just a quick update to let you know we're still here. My name is Brian Abear with Milestone Construction, for those of you who don't know, and I'm happy to be here. I think y'all got a great product out there. Mike's designed a great looking facility, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you. What else?
All right.
Anything?
We didn't provide slides this week, this month, because it wouldn't have really looked, pictures wouldn't look a whole lot. The slab looked like the same slab it was last month. So,
It hadn't changed?
That slab has not changed.
It got a little harder.
Yeah.
Good.
There you go.
Mike, did you have anything? You don't? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And that concludes my report, unless somebody has a question.
Mike, real quick, how'd we turn out on the elevator shaft? Is it dry or?
Not today.
No, well, no. But did we have seepage and stuff? Was that detected, or is it pretty good shape? Even no?
Get water in from the top. I don't think we've noticed any water coming in from the bottom.
Good. Thank you.
Doesn't put a roof on it.
There you go. All right. We'll move to action items. And Terry is up.
I don't have a whole lot to report today. We have heard from our auditors. They have scheduled an exit conference with Jody and myself next week. So you do the exit conference, and then they send it back up the chain, and then I should have an audit report in April to present in May, fingers crossed. As far as our financials, we're still ahead in collections, or local collections. We're actually up about 5% from where we were this time last year, which is exciting. We only have one big deposit coming up, and it's in May, and it's where everybody, after they assess, you know, your assessments are due in March, lots of people pay their taxes at that time, and so we get a lot of money in May, and then they drop off again, and then they come back up. So we're sitting really well with that. Talking about the new building, if you will look on the last page, you will notice in our building fund that we have made another pretty large payment to our construction people, which we should, because they're working their butts off. So I anticipate seeing payments regularly until the project is over. Do you all have any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you for the reminder of assessment, too. It is March, isn't it? Oh, really? Okay. Coca-Cola contract, Ozark Coca-Cola.
So, right when I got here 4 years ago, we were right kind of in the beginning of our exclusive contract with the Coca-Cola Ozarks Coca-Cola bottling company. They were our exclusive provider for any Coca-Cola or Coke products, soda products, I guess is a better way to say it, at our any of our school events or anytime we sell stuff on school campuses. I've been working for probably about the last 4 or 5 months with them. It's time to renegotiate that contract. They came to us and they wanted to, their company has changed the way they do it. They don't want to give flat amounts of money anymore. They want to do it on a percentage of product that we actually purchase to sell through our concession stands, our Coke machines, and different things. We went back and forth a lot. They threw this number. I didn't like it. Anyway, I think we got a really good contract. We're actually going to be projected, if our sales stay the same, then our projected money that the district would receive for having this would actually go up pretty significantly over the next 5 years. That's just staying the same without a whole lot of growth. If we do a 5% growth over the next 5 years, it really will go up. And so a lot of people wonder where this money goes. This money is what we use to, for the most part, it goes back to some of it. Our vending machines go back to the school that it was sold in. Our concession stands go to our athletic department. The athletic money gets that, and that's how we provide trips to Dallas for nationals. In this case, that's how we provide our state tournament expenses when we send people to state playoffs, state tournaments. That's where that money comes from. And so it's imperative that we continue to have that, because it's money that our district doesn't have to provide, and we get to use it to provide special opportunities for our young people that have earned those rights to go to those places. And it doesn't have to come out of our operating budget there with athletics. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, but my recommendation is that we sign this. I reached out to their competitor, and they were not interested in talking to us. So basically, this is if we want a contract, this is the district's opportunity. But I do think that we'll be better off than we have been over the last 5 years. And I will say, our staff, our coaches' staff, our booster clubs, just all of our schools all together, Coca-Cola was very impressed with how we actually stick with the plan. Because a lot of districts, they get a contract, and then people are out there doing whatever they want to. They're going to Sam's and buying this and buying that, and that's not part of the contract. And Coca-Cola was very appreciative, and we actually I think we have a pretty good deal here. But like I said, I'm more than willing. I did want to point this out. I made them put in there, and this was part of what Jody was very high on, is we made them put in there a cap on the cost over the next 5 years. So it looks great this year, and then in 5 years, they triple the cost. They can't do that. There is a max price increase that they can go to for not only what our staff might pay in a concession or in a Coke machine on a campus, but also what they would charge our people to buy drinks, whether it be water, Coke, juice, all of those things. There's a max price, so they can't just like skyrocket the price on us. Yes, sir.
How many years is this contract?
Be
Is
5
it
years.
5 again? I read it, but I couldn't remember.
Yes, sir.
Give a little history. We've had a Coke contract since I've been here, so 20-something years. It used to be a little bit probably more lucrative for them and us both when Coke products, when caffeinated and sugar products were available to our kids. So we've been greatly limited on that by state law. So the things that our kids have available to them in vending machines are very limited to basically zero sugar or pretty close.
It's water, juice.
Yeah.
Is basically Gatorade or Powerade. Sorry.
So the amount of money that they could make off of us and we could make on the contract diminished at that point. But we are fortunate they still want to work with us and still provide us some compensation for using exclusively their products.
And I think we've had I'll be upfront, we've had some service problems. They've had a lot of turnover in the last 3 or 4 years in their area managers. And it was really interesting. I go to our first negotiation meeting, we're sitting down, and our local person who lives in Siloam played football for me and when I was in Springdale, and he has made Siloam his home. He has kids, and he plans on being here a long time. They've made a concerted effort to take care of this area, and so Cameron will be a great resource for us. He's going to have kids going through our school system, and he wants to make sure our kids and staff are taken care of.
You mentioned the possible increase, and I see here price shall remain effective until like June 21st, 2024. Is that kind of a yearly thing that it could go up?
So on
and it's on the second page.
Number 3.
Yeah.
So on A, under that, they do have the opportunity to raise it 5% at their
the max
each year.
But the max.
The max is 5%.
But is that I see it's 2024. Is that every year? Then they'll take a look. Okay.
And they showed me what they bid. Like, we looked at their past stuff, and they went 3 years in a row and didn't have an increase, and then they had a 5% increase. Now they make 5% every year, but that hasn't been. And then if you look at on one of the, I guess it's the very last page, you have your vending prices and the commission rate on that. That's those are locked in through the contract length. And we sat down and negotiated what was best for people that use the staff. What I did is I went to Casey's and I took a 20-ounce bottle of Coke and bought it and compared it, and it's like $2.36 when I did this about 4 months ago. And then you'll see in year price what they call sparkling. That's your Coca-Cola, your Pepsi, or Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up. It's $1.75, so it's actually cheaper. And in the long run, it'll still only at the year 5, it's $2.25. It's still going to be cheaper than what they could go to the convenience store and buy.
And those are the vending machines.
That's the vending machines, not what goes on in concession.
do
we
we-
set our own price for concession
Is it per sport, or do we make a blanket?
No, we have a blanket we do for everything that we sell in concessions. We make a blanket on this is what they sell, and they make a recommendation for us. And what we try to do is we try to stay in the same confines as everybody else in the region, so that if you go to Springdale or we go to Greenwood or wherever, then all those concession prices are about the same.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Shane, you're up again. You're up again.
School board policies. So every year we usually get some kind of winter policy updates. And this year, there are 3. And the first one is, it's the school choice form, the 4.5 form. It's not the policy. What it does is the main thing that it changed in there was that people could actually electronically send that in. That's been an issue around the state that they didn't have. It wasn't in the forms and stuff. So if they sent that stuff in, they added electronic stuff to that. That was a big thing. Now, and we're still in the same boat. Now, I know we have a new law going into effect that this policy will probably get rewritten again at some point, but the rest of the policy doesn't really change on that. The wellness policy. So one of the things that Tiffany Hansen, that does Panther Health and Wellness she's the chair of the wellness committee for the district, and the committee, I think, Mr. Jackson, you're on that committee. They came to me and asked about some changes in the wording and a few things, and then also in the winter policy update come out some changes in the wording. So if you'll look, there's a lot of this stuff that's not a lot different, but we say it different because it meets what our district does. And one of the big deals, it talks about the social and emotional health for students. It adds that in there. Then visitors in the school. This was an addition to the policy to basically keep people from recording either audio or video for things that they're not in areas that there is a general expectation of privacy. So they've been having some issues around the state, people coming in when there was those general expectations. And those are not limited to locker rooms and bathrooms. So it was added to that. And that are the 3 policies. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now you can sit down.
And I would like to point out that over the next several months, we will have a lot of policy updates.
I imagine.
Because we have a very large law that's going to affect a whole lot of our policy book.
It may be rewritten.
There will be a lot of it rewritten.
A lot of red, won't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, there will. Yes. A lot of work involved in that. Okay, student transfers into the district.
We have one student asking to transfer into the district from Springdale, Brooks Kimball, age 6. Would recommend that we transfer that student in.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Transferring out.
We have 3 students requesting to transfer out. Brendan Trejo, age 11, Ava Trejo, age 9, Abigail Trejo, age 7. Those students are one family, obviously, that have moved here from Rogers, and they would like their students to finish out in Rogers this year, and said they would be bringing them to Siloam Springs next year. Recommend that we approve those transfers out.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Only if they bring them to our district.
Okay.
All right. That brings us to executive session for the purpose of hiring and resignations. Thank you.
Just a little token.
Well, yeah. All right, we'll call ourselves back into open session, and first item will be renewal of administrator contracts.
So you have a list of 33 administrators from across the district in your packet, and I would recommend that we renew the contracts of these 33 administrators. Before we move on that, I'd just like to say I value my team, our team. We have a great group of people. I enjoy working for the Silent Springs School District, and the reason I enjoy working here is because of the people I get to work with. And my administrative team at the central office is fantastic. All of our building administrative teams are great. I truly value the people that are leading our district, and I think that we have a top-notch group, and I wouldn't trade them for anyone. So I recommend that you all renew these administrator contracts.
Agree with your comments and motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And yes, thank you all very much for what you do for the kids. You're awesome.
Talking about these people?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, most of them. No, do a great job.
Definitely not.
And we all go by our vision and values, and that's important to all of them. License resignations.
We have 3 resignations for the end of this year. Deborah Elkins, Northside Special Education, Brian Morseman, High School Engineering, and Andrea Morris Zimmerman, High School Art. Just like to point out that Mr. Morseman actually resigned last year to go to work on his farm, I believe, and he was nice enough to come back and teach again for us this year when we lost our engineering teacher at the beginning of the year. So I appreciate Brian's extra year that he put in. And Ms. Zimmerman was on leave of absence this year that you all had approved, and she has decided not to come back, but she had to turn in a resignation for that. So ask you to approve those 3 resignations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hire staff.
We have 1 hire for next year. This is a high-profile hire. Our head volleyball coach, Joellen Wright, had announced her retirement. So Jeff Williams and Karen, Dr. Miller, have interviewed for that head volleyball coach position, interviewed numerous people, and I am happy to recommend Carrie Thamarath as our new volleyball coach. She will be coming to us from Morrilton, where she's been an assistant. She actually played at John Brown University and had very, very high references, very outstanding references from the people at John Brown, from the athletic director to the coach, and then everybody that she's worked with. And I think that she will do a fantastic job for us. And her dad is actually a superintendent. I know him fairly well. And so we are always happy to hire people whose parents are educators. They are usually good educators as well. So recommend that we hire Carrie.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Leave of absence?
We have a teacher that has requested a leave of absence for next year, Rachel Camasato at Southside. She has met the requirements of the policy and would recommend that you all approve that leave of absence.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Termination.
We have a termination of a classified staff, a cafeteria worker, that you all have a letter regarding in your packet. Would recommend that we terminate that employee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Brings us to other business.
Have a little bit of other business. Personnel transfers and classified personnel changes. Certified transfers. Tiffany Smith will be going from District Special Ed Instructional Coach this year to Middle School Instructional Facilitator next year. Classified transfers, we did not have any this month. Classified resignations, Betty Gray, bus driver, Josh Crittenden, middle school special ed para. Classified hires, have several. Ashton Jarvis, bus driver, Terry Holt, bus driver, Tim Gilmore, bus driver, Dwayne Cooley, custodian, Ryan Cooley, custodian, Lenny Zeladon, intermediate school special ed para, Christina Zamora, high school special ed para, Laura Daniela Carrasco, ALE classroom para, Samantha Fanning, Northside special ed para. And then we have a couple of other items that are action items. One, we normally do district calendar for the next year at the February board meeting. Because of all of the unknown, we postponed that to this month, and the Learns Act has passed, so we have a little bit more knowledge of what we're looking at. So I'm going to let Kelly talk about district calendar for next year.
So every year, as Mr. Wiggins said, we usually come in February, but we did push that back this year. I will say, though, that our Personnel Policies Committee was at work in January, multiple meetings, talking about calendar. As always, we start with the current year calendar. We talk about what was great about it, what wasn't so great about it, and get input. The PPC committee is made up of representatives from every single school. And so they go back, they talk to their staff, and they get input, and we begin to develop options from there. As you know, basic teacher contract is 190 days, and so that's what we build from in our calendar. There are some parameters. Quarters cannot be any shorter than 40 days, any longer than 50. We have to build in some inclement weather days. And then we are also waiting on some legislation, aside from the Learns Act, that was changing the uniform start date back to kind of a mid-August time period. So we had some preliminary calendars, A, B, and C, on the later start date, and then when that passed, we were able to move to an earlier start date. So what you have is actually Calendar H. We don't call it Calendar H anymore because it is the recommendation of the committees. So that's the proposed calendar. A few features, there are some federal holidays off. We keep Good Friday as a holiday, typically. There are professional development days throughout the year. 2 of those are flex days. There is some, I believe a new bill has been filed that might impact PD for next year, but we will have to wait and see what happens with that in the legislature. There's 2 weeks off at Christmas, a week off that's designated already by the state for spring break. And we balance the semesters and quarters as much as we possibly can. With this calendar, we do end this semester after Christmas break for our high school. Sometimes that's a little harder. They give final exams. They're more accustomed to ending before. But in order to get the balance that we wanted and not have those semesters, you know, a lot different in the number of days, because that does impact our middle school as well, where they have some semester courses. The committee opted for that ending after Christmas break. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, but PPC has recommended this calendar. Again, it's called Calendar H, but it is the recommendation out of the committee for the 23-24 school year. Mr. Wiggins has statements from both classified and certified PPCs that he can share with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
So by law, we have to work with PPC committees. We have classified and a certified committee. And since this was at the end of the meeting tonight, I told them they could write a statement and I would read their statement rather than them coming to speak to it themselves. So John Blair of Classified Personnel Policy Committee says, the Classified Personnel Policy Committee reviewed and approved the proposed 23-24 calendar that you are seeing. And then Doug Hartman from Certified PPC says, Certified PPC is recommending Calendar H after reviewing several options and determining it to be the best to meet our desired outcomes. So would recommend that you all approve this calendar.
And the 178 days is still, I see it now. We don't expect that to change with legislation.
Not at this point.
Now, motion to approve.
Second.
He beat you to it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
So one more item tonight. I had talked about the design build presentations that we had listened to and read through concerning baseball, softball, and tennis. And I brought, this is actually the presentation from the firm that I'm going to ask you all to give us permission to start negotiations with. The two finalists that presented were Hellas Construction out of Texas and Mammoth Sports Construction out of Kansas. And Mammoth is the presentation that we will run through here. How do I do this? No, that's not it.
You want me to get the lights?
Yes, please. So, there you go. So the people that came to meet with us, this is 4 of the 5 that came to meet with us. The owner actually came as well. And so I had a good representation, and that's the whole team. Those are some of the places, it's kind of hard to see states there, but those are some of the places that they've done projects all over the Midwest, basically. Those are some past projects, and then this is a rendering of what our project might look like. So they would be replacing the turf at the football field, so you can see the football field in the back right there with the lights shining down on it. And then they would be doing 8 tennis courts, softball field, baseball field. That's what the football field might look like. And when I say might, we are still, we will start the negotiation process and actually lay out exactly what's going to be in the plan and what everything's going to look like. So this is just kind of their projection of what it might look like. So that's kind of an overhead of what the project would look like on the north side of the high school. And they threw some kind of eye candy in there for what the entrance might look like. It was some people watching tennis, and then I'm back to the evening shot there. 2 of our board members were on the selection panel, so if either of you all would like to say anything about the process or about Mammoth, would be happy to hear from the 2 of you.
Well, I was privileged to be on the committee. Enjoyed listening to both presentations from Hellas and Mammoth. And then was also privileged to be able to go with Mammoth day before yesterday and visit Pitt State, OSU, a couple other high schools, look at their baseball fields, turfs. And I just can't say how much or how impressed I was with Mammoth and their candor. When Grant and I had talked about this as they were presenting it, they just felt like Siloam. They just appealed to us. Very professional. We went and looked at their turfs. Top notch. I mean, it was just top notch. We had to pull Shane in just a little bit, but I think he was on board totally by the end. But they were even talking with people who had worked with them. One of the things that really stuck out to us was that they were there. If there was ever a problem, they were there. If their team wasn't available, I mean, we had conversations with the owner. They said they were there. The owners were there. They would get on the turf themselves if they needed to. But I thought their design was beautiful. Just good guys. And I wholeheartedly, and I'm excited about the project. I, played baseball here in Siloam growing up every year. So, trying to hit the ball at Benton Park into the creek was a treat for me, much less this. And this is something that I think our school and our community will be proud of. Kids will be, it's great that we have opportunity to provide it for them. Thankful for our coaches that we have. I just can't say enough good about how I feel about the project in general.
So part of the proposal was to obviously give us an idea of what it might look like. Part of it was to give us some estimated pricing as well. Both companies came in right at our budget, what we'd established our budget for the returf for the football field, new softball, baseball fields with all of the amenities that you see there, and the tennis courts. We had laid out a projected budget of approximately $6 million. Both of them came right at that or just under that. And both of them had included, I believe, pretty much everything that we had asked for. There are a couple of things that I'm sure that we will find along the way that we need to do differently or in addition maybe. But the next process for this, or the next step in the design build process is for you all to give the school district permission to start negotiating an actual contract with Mammoth and to start the actual nitty gritty of the design and what that's going to look like. So I'm asking you all to approve that next step and give us permission to start negotiations with Mammoth. And then we will come back to you with that contract at some point when it's finalized for you all to give final approval for. And there will be a guaranteed maximum price at some point, just like we have done in the past.
Question.
Yes.
As this progresses, will it be ready by next year?
Great question. I forgot to talk about timeline. Timeline was also part of the presentation and the proposal. So the most immediate part of it is the football field. We have a very short period of time between the end of soccer and the beginning of football where we need to have the football field resurfaced. And so that would be done this summer between May the 20th and July the 20th. That's basically the time frame that we gave them in the request for proposals. And both companies said that was no problem. So that will be done this summer. The second phase, which is this closer in this picture, the tennis, softball, and baseball, we asked for that to be completed by February the 1st in our requests. And both companies came in with a timeline that showed completion before February 1st. So that would give us the ability to play baseball and softball out there next spring. We would like to be on those fields before February 1st, so there might be a possibility if they can get the fields done and allow us to start practicing out there in the middle of the winter, that would be ideal. And so I think that's the goal, but February 1st was the date that we gave them as a deadline, and they both companies assured us that that was not a problem.
Exciting.
Well, public access.
So one thing, the tennis courts for sure, the city has, we have talked to the city in the past about providing some public access to the tennis courts. So that's something we want to try to do. We want to try to get a set of light fixtures out there that can either be turned on court by court manually in the evenings if it's community members. We have to figure out a process for doing that. Baseball and softball, we will have a little bit tighter control on. We will allow community and community groups to use them, but we will, currently we use the city fields, and there have been access issues out there in the past for us, and then because of the open gates at different times, we have had issues when we went out there to play games because the fields weren't in the same condition they were left the day before. So we will have those a little bit tighter control on those, but we will partner with the city and with others to provide use of those. Any other questions? We will, I have the Silent Springs Public School Foundation has had a couple of meetings recently, and I believe that they will be on board to help do a little fundraising or marketing, advertising marketing along with these projects to raise a little bit of money to help put money back into the building fund after we have spent this. We're developing that plan currently, or they are developing that plan currently.
There you go.
Do we need a motion?
We do.
Motion to approve moving forward?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's all I have, sir. Down. You gotta think in reverse. That's all I have, sir.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye.